He is genre fluid and unabashedly unboxed.
I was 17, Mitiwai College, doing nothing, literally sitting in the canteen all day, having samosas and chai. We are a very diverse country, but we are very non-diverse when it comes to our storytelling. At the end of the day, everything's a risk, and if you take a big risk, at least you have a big payoff. Udaan.
Some filmmakers chase trends, others style, and most chase the algorithm. Vikramaditya Motwane chases curiosity. From an intense love story, Lootera, to a tech thriller, Control, to a period drama, Jubilee, and a prison drama, Black Warrant, he is genre fluid and unabashedly unboxed. He selected stories that aren't easy or obvious, but they are the select few that move us, break us, shape us, and most definitely stay with us. Welcome, Vikram.
Thank you, Tisca. I'm chasing box office now, by the way.
Acha, tell me, I'm gonna come straight to one very big point. The film industry seems to be in massive doldrums, like a free fall. If you were in control for one day, absolutely everyone heard what you had to say. What changes would you make? What would you tell actors, directors, producers, and cinema owners?
Very, very broadly, I would say just chase ambition. Chase ambition, chase, big stories. Don't chase stars. Don't chase algorithms. Don't chase trends. Chase things that are not trendy. Chase things that are, going to take big leaps, big risks. Do that. Because at the end of the day, everything's a risk. And, if you take a big risk, at least you have a big payoff.
Do you think actor salaries, entourages, all of that adds up to the cost at the end of the day? Should that be tied up to the back end? Those kind of changes for actors?
Yes. Look, I get the fact that actors demand a certain salary, demand a certain entourage. What's tending to happen is that...
Oh God, you just dug yourself a hole, maybe.
No. My problem is not that. My problem is that if actors benefit, everybody should benefit. And I feel that what's happening is that actors are getting more money at the cost of crew members getting more money. Actors' salaries are not going down, but crew members' salaries are going down.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of there's a tremendous amount of cost cutting happening across the board, and I keep hearing people, and it's true, where there's not enough work, and if there is work, the fees that you were getting a year or two ago are now coming down. I don't hear the same thing about actors' fees coming down. I find it's unusual, but it's also, if you look at your top 5, top 6 movie stars, they're all actually producers as well.
Yeah.
Because they understand the fact that they can't load a film with their fee right at the top. So Shah Rukh, Amir, Salman, all the big guys are producers, because they know that I come in at nothing. All the money goes into the film and to pay the people, and then if the film does well, everybody benefits.
You've been at the center of the whole OTT blossoming. Do you feel that the OTT experiment in India hasn't blossomed to its full promise? With a country of almost 1.5 billion, we have 4 or 5 big streamers. Do you think that it's an experiment that hasn't worked?
Yes, short answer is that we haven't fully gone to our potential of what we can do when it comes to storytelling. We are a very diverse country, but we are very non-diverse when it comes to our storytelling. And I think this is part of the hangover of our movies, of our Bollywood system, of what it was 20, 25 years ago. But I feel that we haven't really gone out there. So yes, while in a format system, you can go out there and say, I can end up making hour-long crime drama, or I can end up making 20-minute comedy kind of stuff. But because all the streamers are in a growth phase and they are so chasing their numbers, because they're ending up chasing their stock price. Quite honestly, I'm not on Netflix because of, even for my own show, Black Warrant, I'm there to see $1. I'm there to see the things that, or whether my subscription to Jio, for example, is for the HBO stuff and for the FX stuff. Not for what is locally kind of done, and for the sports, of course. And they know that, right? But they have to keep making shows, and we have to keep making shows. At some point in time, you also understand the fact that there is a bit of a paradigm shift. But as with anything, and this is true of shows, this is true of AI, is the fact that when stock price determines creativity, you're going to end up suffering eventually.
Yeah, and neither's going to win, frankly, I think, in that case. So most directors have a sort of favorite genre. There's Tarantino, there's Scorsese, back home, there's Sanjay Leela Bhansali, and then there's Rajamouli. You are remarkably non-aligned to a particular genre. You're hopping from one to the other to the other. I have two questions for you here, which is an intense personal curiosity. When you delve into a genre, you feel like you want to tell more of that, because you develop an expertise. For example, let's say control. So you've gone into the tech, you've gone into developing certain softwares and certain understandings of that. Then wouldn't you want to take that a little further and go down that path? But what you do is you've done this and you're like, acha abhi kuch aur try karunga. So I want to understand how your mind works in that way, and how are you so sort of almost staccato in your choices?
Because I like watching every kind of film and every kind of series, and so I think that there is also a desire to be able to sort of like try and do as much as I can in those sort of like distinct things, because you get excited by something. So there's an excitement of if it's earlier in my career to be able to say to make an Udaan, there's a deep desire to make a coming of age film, because so inspired generally by life, but also by, I think, the literature one grew up reading, by the movies one watches, like the 400 Blows or Sweet 16, where you're like, my God, these great, coming of age movies. And, I also want to do something like that, because you're also inspired. Yes, you are inspired by Bollywood and you got to make stuff in the Bollywood format, but your true desire comes from, kind of storytelling, which is a little aside from that. Lootera comes from a deep desire to tell this like old-fashioned romantic drama. Trap comes from like, how can we do a survival
Gorgeous
film?
films, both Udaan, Lootera, lovely.
And Bhavesh Joshi comes from this real deep desire. I mean, I'm a huge superhero buff. I've loved superhero movies my entire life. So be able to tell that, but also mixed up with a very local kind of like anger towards the system and stuff like that. So it's all from everywhere. And the series also, again, I love watching. I think a great series is the experience of watching something over multiple seasons that can move you to a way that no movie can move you is also a very, very special experience, which is why there's also a desire to try and, get yourself...
But do you feel that films or series, for a director, should they bring their politics into their films? Do you feel that one should load films or ideas onto your films like that, or should you let them be purely for entertainment? Should films have to carry the weight of that?
Everything is political. I mean, everything we do is political. Every thought we have is political. Everything we say is political. So I think that I don't think it's possible for us to be able to sort of like say that I'm going to keep my films or my things free of politics. Entertainment is politics. In a certain sort of way. So if you look at, even if going back to, Lagero Munna Bhai is political. Jawan is political. Pathan is political. These are all political statements. There is a certain amount of like your politics can't be hidden in your sort of stuff. And I think that it's subtle. I think it comes from every decision you make, every cause you support. Everything that you want to say in your films is political. I don't think that one can kind of hide from that. Sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's covert.
Covert, yeah.
All of Ray's work is political. All of Bimal Roy's work is political. All of
Gurudat's in a way.
Gurudat's work, yes, of course. All of Shyam Benegal's work is political. But I mean, like I'm saying, even when you come to today's thing, all of Raju Hirani's work is political. There's a sequence in PK, which is just one of the most beautiful things I've seen, is when he's running from the women in the film, because he can't understand why, when one is wearing white to celebrate, but the other one's wearing white to mourn, and they're wearing black to mourn and black to celebrate. And it's such a beautiful sequence, but it's a very political scene.
Yeah.
It's a very, very political moment in that kind of film, because it talks about that kind of stuff. Very entertaining also.
In the sense of holding up a mirror to society and showing its, as the best art does.
But isn't that a political statement also? In today's day and age, isn't that just political enough?
It is, and I sort of meant more like an agent of social change. That do you think वो बीड़ा उठाना चाहिए कि मेरी film लोगों का नजरिया बदल देगी? Do you think it should have carried that weight? Is that what you think?
If your film can change somebody's thinking, if it can change and therefore change somebody's life, I think that is a huge achievement. It is a massive achievement. Now, whether you do it this way or that way, and sometimes it can be negative. I think films over a period of time, especially films that were in the 80s or the 90s, where you've had the hero feel कि लड़की तो मेरी होगी ही, तुम मतलब तू हाँ कर या ना कर तो मेरी. I mean, you know what I mean? There's almost like, if you feel that ना में हाँ है, and that's what your kids have kind of grown up with that. So that is also, in a certain sort of way, a negative effect that we've seen the movies kind of have.
Coming to casting, you've cast like some unbelievable actors, Zahan Kapoor, Siddhant Gupta, Vamika, who had done some work, but then the way you showed her in Jubilee. How do you cast them, and how do you believe in the talent of these people? Because I'm in awe when I see these performances. They look like Zahan, for example, in Black Warrant, looks like he's a boy from Delhi, but wo Prithvi
He
mein...
lives 5 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
But that's true. Actually, the first time I saw Ranveer Singh in Band Baja Bharat as well, I thought he was a Delhi boy. I didn't realize he grew up one street away from me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very instinctive. Zahan Kapoor's audition for Black Warrant, fantastic. And it was very meta, because the scene that was in the audition was the scene where he's going in for his very first meeting in front of the board. The opening scene of the show was what he auditioned first. So it's almost like he's auditioning in an audition in an audition. You know what I mean? There's like it's very layered. And he was fab. In the opening 10 seconds, you sort of see him, you see his uncertainty, you see his sense of trying to project confidence, that smile, that pleasantness, and you're like, okay, this is the guy. That happened with him. That happened with Priyanshu on Bhavesh. That happened with Jitendra Joshi as Kartikar on Sacred Games. 10 seconds, you're like, this is the guy. You know it right then. Siddhant Gupta on Jubilee. And I like that also, because what happens is that you come with certain preconceived notions about actors, and lots of times when you let the casting directors just say, I don't want to know who you're auditioning. If there's a certain actor I like, I will call you up and tell you, okay, maybe you should call so and so, like do that. But when you do it out of the blue, I love it, because it's and that's exactly how someone like Apar happened for Jubilee. Because if Anmol had told me that he was auditioning Apar, I would have said, are you sure? And then I've gone with the preconceived notion that a comedy actor is going to go out there and play a fairly serious role. So when the audition was slipped in, I was kind of like, I'm like, hang on a second, like Apar can do this stuff, and so you see your words come to life in a way you've never seen them happen, and I think that I love that process, and I think that objectivity is something that is beautiful.
Who's your favorite actor internationally, or a few favorite actors internationally?
I love Cillian Murphy, Adam Driver, Timothée Chalamet. I think the work that they've all done is just exceptional amongst
no girls?
The newer bunch. I was coming to the girls.
The ladies.
Yeah, the ladies. I love Emily Blunt.
Yes.
Emma Stone, I think she's incredible, especially the movies that she does with Yorgos Lanthimos is just insane. Rachel Weisz is another one, and one of my most incredibly favorite performances.
India?
I think Alia Bhatt is incredible. I think Kareena Kapoor is incredible. I think Kriti Sanon, Taapsee, Vidya, such incredible actors, so much potential there. Deepika, Anushka, there's so much potential there. Amongst the boys, I think Rajkumar, Ranveer. I liked Ahan a lot, actually. I thought he was incredible, in his presence and the way he holds something is phenomenal. Aneet was terrific as well, like such a good actress.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. But you never went to film school, right? Your mum was a line producer, and you went with her when you were 17?
My mom was, she used to be production manager with somebody called Shukla Das. When I was 17, she wanted to do this talk show called Teen Talk. It was about her talking to teenagers. Came on DD Metro back in the day. And I was in Mitibai College.
And that's where you met Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
So Sanjay Leela Bhansali used to be the assistant director to Shukla Das while my mom was a production manager. They very ambitiously on their own decided to start their own little ad film production company. I think it was called Triton Films. And I was 17, Mitibai College, doing nothing, literally sitting in the canteen all day, having samosas and chai. And so she got me and a bunch of my friends, said, now you're teenagers, I'm making a show about teenagers, you have to help me. So that's how I started working. And so when I used to go to a set as a kid, like, when I was like 10, 11 years old, it would be like, oh my God, what is this? Like these hot lights and they're doing the same thing over and over again. This is like dull. Like, I'm never going to do this. But the first time when you're like backstage and you're actually sort of doing it, you're a part of the crew. I think that feeling of like, where did the day go? Like, what, we're done already? Like how, how quick was that? I think that was lovely. So I think that, so I worked on that. and then worked with this director called Manu Gargi, who was, we used to do a show called Disney Club. I was his assistant director. This was when I was like 18, 19.
I think that's better training than film school, to be on an actual set, because a lot of filmmakers are going to be watching this. Well, fingers crossed, I hope they are. Do you recommend that people go to film school and get their chops there and have formal training, or do you recommend being on set? Because I think it's a blessing to get on set and actually learn, because no film school can actually prepare you. They can give you a certain grammar perhaps, but you can learn your own grammar, because it might become stereotypical if you learn precise things to do, and that might sort of, choke you in a way.
It does too. Look, what film school does is that it does end up, which the industry doesn't unless you sort of like start to search it and find it. Because I was lucky because I started early enough. I started assisting when I was 17. But when I was 20, I assisted Sanjay Bansali on Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam when I was 20, when I was exactly 20 years old. And that was 2.5 years of working with him, where you're working with him on the script, you're working with him through music sittings and art department and costume, and you're going to Bhuleshwar market to look at, kind of like, you're doing all that sort of stuff.
Borders and pattis and
stuff.
little jhalars.
Yeah, all that. But you're also part of the shot breakdown process. You're also sort of like making notes. You're also through post-production. You're working on film through the entire thing, like actually on celluloid. So that's priceless. The flip side to that is the fact that because you do that and because you're working with a director, you get very little time to think of what is my own voice here. What do I want to say? Who am I as a person? So it probably took me longer to figure that out because you're working with somebody versus when you go to film school, that's one of the first things you do is like you're there to be a director, you're there to be a cinematographer, you're there to be somebody who has to discover their own voice much earlier than what you would discover it being an assistant director. So there are pros and cons to both. I think that yes, it's important to work in the industry because you need to know how everything can't be theoretical. You need to know how it works when you're with 100 people a day to make sure that you got to get those shots and your day has to be made and you got to stay within budget and you got to have your lunch break. Like that. Making those relationships, making those friends, understanding, so much of what we do in our movies later on in life have come from the relationships we've made. I mean, I'm working with the same sound designer that I worked with when I was an assistant director back then, So Kunal has been my go-to sound guy now for 25 years. And
that's so precious because there's nothing lost in translation.
Exactly.
They know exactly what you're thinking and
exactly. So you build those relationships.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think film school is essential to be able to just give you the confidence, to give you the ability to work with collaborators at a level where you're taking decisions. You're taking, not life-altering decisions, but kind of like whatever, career-altering decisions in that moment. So which is why I would tell every young filmmaker to do a bit of both in the sense that, yes, go out there and assist. By all means, go out there and assist in the industry or find a job, be a photographer, work in production. Get into the industry, understand how things will work and make connections, make relationships there. But at the same time, you must shoot, you must write, you must go out there and find your own creative voice, know what you want to do.
When you are the darling of the OTT space, which you are today, you're pretty much the most prolific, the most loved director. Most of everything that you've done on the OTT space has got enormous love. What frustrates you today when you look from this hilltop and you look around? Do you still have to do submissions? Do you still have to do the studio thing? Do the streamers? Do you still get the run around? What is it that it looks like for you right now?
Honestly, that doesn't bother me at all. There's a process, like everybody has a job and everybody's got their own kind of like bosses to reply to. So in that sense, that doesn't bother me. I mean, and you have to do the work. You have to like write the scripts and submit them, and everybody has a say in it because they have a say in it.
But how do you put your foot down if somebody has a say that you don't like what they're saying?
I mean, you choose your battles, really. You can't sort of like fight for everything. This I've learned also. Like one point in time, one you should fight for everything. And you realize that you have to choose your battles and sort of like let something go, but fight the larger battles that are more important battles to fight. And I think that, and that's okay. In the long run, you realize that this is one small thing, it's fine. But this larger thing, one needs to really kind of like get behind.
So it's not like you stride into the streamer's office and they're like, okay, whatever you want, anything you want, you have the carte blanche.
I wish it doesn't happen. I don't know.
Here's the budget, take the money, here's a few sacks, take them.
No. That doesn't happen. And I mean, I wish. But you know, sometimes it's also like you kind of happy because I think hubris is also a big danger that happens, and especially in the filmmaking industry, and the fact of like if you've got too much power is also not a good thing.
What is your opinion about short films? Do you think young filmmakers should try? You never ended up making a short film.
The formal short film I made one called Undisputed. This is 2005, 2006. I think short films are extremely important for younger filmmakers. It's very, very important for them to make short films because, and again, it comes to the point in time like you need to be able to, if you're going to form a collective of people, if you're going to be able to go out there and practice. Look, actors can go in front of the mirror and practice. Singers can sort of like sing and practice. How do directors practice? How do you practice? And because directing is not just about saying, hey, you do this. It's about prep, and it's about writing, and it's about knowing a world and visually and directing actors and editing things and putting it together and music and sound and all that sort of stuff. And I think short films are a great way of practicing either with a crew or alone. And most of my practice would actually come alone. I do my sound by myself, my editing by myself.
Really?
Yeah, I'd shoot. And that's, I mean, greatest learning for any filmmaker. Edit stuff by yourself.
Yeah.
Shoot and edit by yourself. You'll understand filmmaking better than anybody else.
You know, Javed Saab said to me once when I was thinking about turning director, he said, "Tum edit room mein jaake baitho." So yeah,
it's the greatest place to learn filmmaking is the edit room. And I'm saying if you can do it yourself on your, and it's not difficult. Edit softwares that you get, and whether it's, I learned on FCP, but whether it's on Avid, whether it's on Premiere Pro today. They're not difficult to pick up.
Today you can edit on an iPhone.
You can edit on an iPhone, but if you want a proper system, it's not difficult to do. They're not. It's not rocket science. You can pick it up and if you're fairly computer savvy, you can pick that stuff up in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. Are you ready for some dumb charades, Vikram? Khele? 3 words.
Hindi. English Hindi.
Okay. 3 words. Third word. Barfi.
Yes.
What? That's it? But 3. That is Bareilly ki barfi. Is that the name?
Clearly, you're a sweet fan. You got barfi very quickly.
Yeah, barfi. I got it in this one. Now mine is going to be very easy. Okay.
Udaan.
Simple enough. Okay, you do one more.
One more?
5. A lot of eating. Toffee. Coffee. Chai. Sweet only, but sweet. Meetha. Sweet. The second half. Wheat. Sweet. Sweetie. Sonu ki, somebody ki. Is that the film? Okay.
Clearly the audience is like...
Yeah. But nicely done, yeah. Vik.
Thanks.
Very, very nice. Okay, thank you. For me, this was such a pleasurable conversation. We've known each other a very long time, but never sat. And here we are sitting under the arc lights and talking about all of this. I'm super excited to see what you do next. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you. You're most welcome. And thank you for this chat. It was lovely.
Thank you. You've been watching Select Conversations with Tisca Chopra, featuring the very, very talented Vikramaditya Motwane. We'd love to hear your favorite moments in the comments below. And for more exclusive insights into the lives of the select ones, subscribe to Royal Stag Barrel Select Shorts only on YouTube.